The funeral for Jay Slater will be a celebration of his life, according to his family. The 19-year-old from Oswaldtwistle, Lancashire, had his remains repatriated to the UK last week from Tenerife. Officials subsequently stated that he passed away on June 17, the day he went missing, following trauma consistent with a fall in a rocky area. His disappearance spurred a high-profile month-long search. In honor of him, well-wishers are encouraged to wear blue during his funeral on August 10 at Accrington Cemetery Chapel. Before going missing, Mr. Slater had gone to the NRG Music Festival with two companions. The last place he was seen was at the rural Ditino Park in the Canary Islands north. After a night out, he had gone to an Airbnb in Masca. But the two men who were alleged to have leased the apartment were later determined to be not relevant to the case. Mr. Slater may have fallen in the steep, unreachable spot where he was found, according to the Spanish Civil Guard. A family homage summarizing the apprentice bricklayer's life's highlights and passions was given to him. They stated, after Jay left Ridings High School, he went on to become an apprentice bricklayer with the PH Build Group, a job he greatly enjoyed. He also loved spending time chilling out with his friends. Jay began playing football at the age of 5 and continued to play with Huncote United FC until he was 17. He also played for a few seasons on the Sunday squad at St. Joseph's. Jay loved going to music festivals, and his family remarked, Jay will be very sadly missed by all those who knew him. Following the confirmation of her son's identity in a body discovered in Tenerife, the mother of British teenager Jay Slater says the family's hearts are broken. The worst news was her son's passing, according to Debbie Duncan, who also said, I just can't believe this could happen to my beautiful boy. Authorities claim that trauma consistent with a fall in a rocky area is what killed the 19-year-old, and they also mentioned that fingerprint analysis identified Mr. Slater's body as the one that was discovered in Masca on Monday. The charitable organization LBT Global had already verified that Mr. Slater's belongings had also been found close to his last known location. The teenager, who was last seen on June 17, was from Oswaldtwistle, Lancashire, and had visited an Airbnb that two of his companions from the NRG Music Festival on the island had booked. Asterisk devastating for the family. Vile Jay Slater trolling fall from substantial height. We have a positive identification and more data. Fingerprint tests show that the body is that of Jay Slater and that the death was caused by trauma consistent with a fall in a rocky area, the Canary Islands High Court of Justice had earlier stated. When Mr. Slater's mother learned that her son's remains had been identified, LBT Global's Matthew Searle was there and reported the family was devastated. He continued, the announcement does seem to confirm that Jay died of injuries consistent with an accidental fall from a considerable height. Mr. Searle announced that the family would receive support to make this horrific time as easy as possible from the foundation, which assists families in cases involving missing persons abroad. He continued, we are working with the family now to sort out the next steps of taking Jay home, recovery of his belongings, and laying him to rest. Documentation belonging to the apprentice bricklayer was recovered with the deceased, according to a previous court statement made today. It is confirmed that the documentation that was on the body found yesterday in the mountains of Masca belongs to Jay Slater, added the statement. The report continued by saying that everything suggests that it was an accidental fall, but it would take longer to get the official investigation's findings. On Monday, a mountain rescue team from the Spanish Civil Guard found Mr. Slater's body close to the village of Masca. Why did Spanish police announce that they had canceled the search? The island's Civil Guard announced just 2 weeks ago that the search had been canceled, but the inquiry was still ongoing. It is now evident that the force was actually still conducting searches at this time. Police made an attempt to preserve the natural space to ensure it did not fill up with curious onlookers, which may have been a clue as to why. That seemed to be a reference to the enormous amount of interest the case garnered in the UK, especially on social media, where ludicrous conspiracy theories began to circulate. Some internet investigators even traveled to Tenerife to assist with the search. When a case like this is still pending, the Spanish police provide very little information to the media, in contrast to the UK, where officers frequently brief the press throughout investigations. Nevertheless, they stated that nothing had been ruled out. It is believed that he passed away right away. The family of tragic Brit Jay Slater returned to the UK last week, on the same day that Jay's body was repatriated, stated Matt Searle of LBT Global, the missing people charity that assisted the family in repatriating Jay's body. The coroner ordered a UK post-mortem, which came to the conclusion that Jay's death was due to traumatic head injuries that were consistent with the height fall. Additionally, the study emphasized that his demise would have occurred instantly. The family has asked that flowers be sent to Jay's home, but they also said that anyone would be more than welcome to bring a single rose. Instead of sending flowers, they are asking people to donate to LBT Global through a specifically created page at haps/rememberingj.racelicet.com/. Following the discovery of the reason of Jay Slater's death last week, his family is now faced with the difficult process of bringing their beautiful boy home. After a heartbreaking search for Jay Slater, his family is now faced with the difficult job of reuniting with their beautiful boy. When Jay, 19, went missing on June 17 while vacationing in Tenerife with pals, a desperate 29-day search was launched. Regretfully, the apprentice bricklayer's body was discovered in the rural Ditino Park, northwest of the island, only a few meters from his last known position, ending any chance of discovering him alive. Tenerife officials warned that because of the body's extremely deteriorated condition, determining the cause of death would need some time. Authorities have cobbled together a picture of the British teen's tragic end, disclosing painful details about his last moments, following the autopsy results. After a preliminary examination, the cause of death was determined to be a fall or plunge from height, due to the broken bones he suffered. A spokesman for the Civil Guard verified that Jay had multiple fractured bones. He said, "Identification and fingerprint comparison have allowed us to identify the man's body as Jay Slater, who was found yesterday. Because of his damaged bones, the preliminary autopsy's findings indicate that a fall or plunge from a height was the cause of death." According to a source close to Jay's family who spoke to Mail Online, they take some very small comfort in the fact that it seems likely that Jay passed quite instantly. Following the official identification of Jay's remains, Debbie, his distraught mother, said, "It's unbelievable that we're waiting for an update with the embassy staff here, and now the worst news has come. It absolutely amazes me that my gorgeous son could experience this." The Mirror says, "Our hearts are broken." After hearing the heartbreaking news, the family is now going through another difficult wait in hopes of bringing Jay's remains back to the UK. On the fundraising page that was previously used for the search, Debbie Duncan, who is devastated, is now pleading for funeral donations in an attempt to provide her beloved son with the send-off he deserves.